Greetings children. Welcome to the online classes. This is Aishwarya. Please like and subscribe the channel for the further updated videos. The following video is for class 4, subject General Science, chapter 5, the food chain, part 2. Now in the first part 1 of this lesson, we learned that what is a food chain. Food chain means the transfer of food energy from plants to an animal and then to an other animal. How here we will understand how the animals and the plants are related to each other. Then we even learned what are prey, predator and an apex predator. A prey is an animal that are eaten. Predators is the animal that eats the prey. Then the apex predator is a top predator at the top of the food chain of an ecosystem. They are on the top of the ecosystem, and the examples were the tiger in India and the lion in Africa. Now we are going to see what is an ecosystem. An ecosystem, it is a community of a living organism and their physical environment in an area. That means the place where we are living is our ecosystem. The ecosystem usually it shows the interrelationship between living things and the relationship between the living things and the non-living things in the surroundings. Now, ecosystem is a group of living things uh, living in an environment which are related to each other. They have a relationship with each other. Now, how we are living in the environment where we require plants. We require food from them and they require the carbon dioxide and they require us for pollinations. Like that, we are related to each other. Any ecosystem can show a relationship between two different living things or a relationship between living thing and a non-living thing. Here is an example of an ecosystem. You can see a rabbit, which is a living thing, which requires water and which requires the plants. So the plant is also the living thing, and you can see the stone is a non-living thing. They are all related to each other. Now a rabbit will require a non-living thing like a stone to hide itself from the predators, isn't it? Like that, we are all, this is just a small example, we are all related to each other in a ecosystem. If it can be either a living thing related to a living thing or a living thing related to a non-living thing. Now, you all know the most dangerous animals are the predators, right? Then why do we protect them? Now you must have all read that we have to protect the tigers, right? Tigers are the apex predators of India. So why is it important to protect the apex predator, or why is it important to protect the predators? Now, for example, let us imagine a world with no predators. What will happen? There will be no herbivorous animals. Now if there are no carnivorous animals which feed on the herbivorous animals, there will be that this herbivorous animals will keep increasing. Now these animals will keep increasing and keep grazing the plants. Now this will not give the plants enough time to regrow and continue to live. If the herbivores keep growing in the same keep feeding and gazing in the same place, it will not give time for the plants to grow. So when the carnivores scare them off from the place, they move from that place, they move away from that place. So it helps the plants also to grow well. Predators keep the number of animals at a sustainable rate. There is I would like to add that there is one balance in the environment, balance in our environment between all the living things. Nothing should exceed more than the limit. If it goes more than the limit, it will be controlled by any of the forces in the environment. Like what happens if there is too many chickens? If um, let's say if tigers stop eating the herbivorous animals, the number of the deers, herbivorous as example, deer if you take, the number of deer will start increasing so much that it will go out of control. Then lion hunt antelope and keep the number of antelope from becoming too big. Also, when the lion hunts, it catches only the weakest antelope. This makes the antelopes strong as only the strongest or the fittest survives. Predators check the population of the herbivores. They also check the growth of smaller predators. For example, if there are only few cats, it can lead to increase in the rat population. Just imagine if there are very few rats, that the number of very few cats, the number of rats will increase in such a way that it will become very difficult for us to maintain the number of rats. They will start entering the house, they will start troubling everyone. All these things will start happening. So we need the predators to be protected, so that there will be a check in the number of other animals that grow. Now we need to understand, we understood that what is a food chain, right? We understood what is a prey predator and the apex predator. Now now we're going to understand what are the links of the food chain. Each link or the level in the food chain has a name. These names help us to know what the organism eats and what its energy contribution in the food chain. Energy contribution of the food chain you will learn in the later video. Now you're going to just learn the links of the food chain. The first one is, these three are simple and easy, that is producer, consumers and decomposers. Now beginning with producers. Producers are the organisms that can produce their own food or energy. Who are the usual producers? They are the plants, right? Plants are our producers in our ecosystem. They are not dependent on any other organisms for food. All plants are producers. All the plants are producers and they are not dependent on any other organisms for food. Second one is consumers. The organisms that depend on other plants and animals for food or energy are called consumers. Now, they cannot make their own food. All the animals, including humans, are consumers. We all come under consumers because we depend on the other living things, other plants or other animals for our food, our energy, our nutrition. We depend on them, so we are called the consumers. The last but very important people, the very important organisms are the decomposers. The organisms that depend on decaying plants and dead animals are called decomposers. Now why the decomposers are important? Because what will happen to the body when an animal dies? It has to be decomposed into the soil, which is very important. If the body does not get decomposed, it starts stinking, it starts oozing out. It is not good for the environment. So these worms, mushrooms, insects and bacteria help in decomposing the different dead bodies of the different animals and plants. Even the bodies of the human beings are decomposed by these organisms only. Now here there is one example of a food chain where the uses the sun, the energy from the sun and the water, and they become the producers. Now the primary consumers are the small insects or the worms. They are also herbivores. Secondary consumers, that means the rat eats the worms, the rat eats the cockroach. The primary consumer, they are omnivorous. Omnivorous animals which eat plants and also flesh of other animals. Then the tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers, snake eats rat. So the energy from the producer, the sun, the energy that is collected from the sun moves into herbivorous, then from the moves into primary consumer, then to the secondary consumer, then to the tertiary consumer, and the last tertiary consumer is a carnivore or a eagle. Now when the eagle dies, it goes into the soil, and the decomposers remove all the nutrients that a plant had collected from the soil and returns it to the soil itself. That is the work of the decomposers. Now, first level consumers means the consumers come first. Consumers are divided into two groups. First, animals that consume only plants are called herbivores. Now, these herbivores usually form the second part of the food chain and are called the first level consumers. Usually, the herbivores are the animals which come under the first level consumers because they eat the plants. Second level consumers, after herbivores, the animals that eat other animals come next. So the omnivores, these animals are either omnivores or carnivores. Now omnivores like people, bear, pigs, hens; carnivores like fox, wolf, lion, shark. These are all the second level consumers. So the second level consumers and the third level consumers are the same. They are either the omnivorous animals or the carnivorous animals. The last level in any food chain are the decomposers. They are the last members of the food chain, and either it can be a plant or an animal that feed on the dead animals and plants. They are called the decomposers. Decomposers help to return the nutrients back into the soil. These nutrients will be used later by the plants in the food chain. Insects, now examples can be your mushroom, snails, bacterias, then insects. They are all the good examples for decomposers. They help in returning the nutrients back into the soil. The remaining part of the lesson will be covered in the next video. Stay at home, stay safe, take care of yourself, and keep learning, children. Thank you.